could call a perpetual motion machine. Well, I think we found out in the 8th grade the perpetual motion machine is not possible. Neither is the perpetual motion universe. And this is what all their theories are centered upon, that eventually somehow or other they'll prove that there really is a perpetual motion machine or universe. That'll never happen. So what science has turned into actually is a series of hypotheses or guesses or faiths that then get to be proven wrong, most of them, and then they move to the next step. So when you understand that it's a belief system, that there is no ever going to be any proof that there's a perpetual motion machine, because there can't be, there's no such thing as a perpetual motion universe, that's their religion. They have a faith in these things. None of them have really been proven. Of course, 1 + 1 = 2 is proven. Apple falls out of a tree, of course that's proven. But all this other stuff, sometimes it's just so convoluted theory that to find a place for it in the real world is a little difficult sometimes. So we need to get back to some basic understanding. And again, we have to stop believing in this religion, and to take it one more step further, our government cannot support this conception. It's a faith, it's a religion. By every definition, there's no proof. There's proof that actually their ultimate conclusion is wrong, and if it is right, it's a faith. It's a totally subjective thing. So as they're pursuing that end result of the perpetual motion machine, also some ignorant thing, ignorance not being necessarily personal, but it can be a whole society. But some ignorance came in this psychology idea. See, when psychology started off, they were going to cure everybody by understanding the unconscious. Gosh, it turns out the unconscious is in books some people think are 5,000 years old. It's not a new concept at all. But they failed in their understanding of the workings of the mind, so they started to drug everybody. Well, that means that they're basically admitting failure in their original hypothesis, their original premise. Now they're just drugging everybody. And not only is there failure there, but they failed to see that their so-called science, or so-called what people accept as facts, is actually a faith also. They believe that the supreme being in the universe, whether directly or indirectly, is the ego, is mankind and the ego. That we are the supremely evolved entity here on earth, and of that evolution, then a person's ego is the supreme being, the supreme example of life. So, but when you try to prove what that ego is, there's no objective way to prove it at all. It's totally subjective. Because I think, therefore I am, that's not proof. Brainwaves aren't proof. Feelings aren't proof. None of it's anything but subjective proof. And that makes it a faith, a religion, a metaphysical science. Something that is a study of something that can't be measured or felt in the usual sense of occupying time and space. There's no weight to the ego. There's no dimension to the ego. There's no color to the ego. There's nothing that defines it as a real thing in this dimension. So again, psychology is little more than a faith. They believe in this metaphysical being, and if you study the nature of this metaphysical being, you will be relieved of your ills. That was a very noble effort in the beginning. You will be relieved of your ills, and society will answer all the wrongs. But that didn't work. Turns out, though, that meditation does do that. So that they don't teach us, but they teach us this other faith. See, they don't teach us that because it's separation of church and state, but they teach us their faith, their religion. They teach us their faith, their religion, and science that gets everybody to feel very impersonally. Like we're alone in the universe. We're just a $1.98 worth of chemicals. You know, you get to the top of the heap by walking over the banks of other people, and that's okay because that's the way everybody is. It just breeds, that idea just breeds that rampantly, and so I think that this is a new look at some things. We need to get that money, that public money, out of those two philosophies, those two religions, and see the real religion for what it really is. Not the real religion, but the real spiritual science that actually will do what psychology promised to do and will actually make people happy.
Praise the Lord.
You have a great day. And be happy.